What's up, guys? It's finally here. We are looking at the first Major League Baseball real slate of this entire season. So very excited to dive in here. We're going to break down every game that's not being covered as a premium play over at Stump the Spread. We're also going to look at the NCAA basketball games for tonight. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday went pretty well. We were on the NBA in that one, and we went 2-0, which brings us to 5-1 over the last couple of days. Pretty solid stuff. We had Denver -4. They get the winning cover for us, and the Clippers -2.5. After being down early there against the Knicks, they come back and get the 13-point win there. So a nice 2-0 day. We will certainly take that. Slam that like button. If we can get this video to 1,000 likes, we're giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random commenter. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are less than 200 subscribers away from that 50,000 subscriber mark, and we'll be giving away another free hoodie for that. If you're a huge fan of what we do here every single day, you can sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen in every video. But more importantly, you'll get access to our monthly members only giveaways. We'll be giving away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member in early April. And if we get to 80 channel members, we'll be giving away 2 hoodies in that month. So pretty good stuff there. Also, we're about to re-roll for the giveaway for last month because the winner never came forward. So that's about to happen unless he comes forward on this video. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence plays from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily college basketball, NBA, NHL, and UFC picks. And Major League Baseball, guys, starting today is our most profitable sport the last 3 years in a row. Get in there, get in on the action. Just keep in mind, I'm not the premium pick writer. I'm not the main capper there for Major League Baseball at Stump the Spread. So my picks here in the free videos may not match, may even be the opposite of what you're getting from the guy who really knows what he's talking about on MLB that we have over there at Stump the Spread. He's got some really sophisticated algorithms, systems, a bunch of different stuff that go into his picks, and he's the reason we've been so profitable over there at StumpTheSpread.com when it comes to Major League Baseball. If you're not ready to sign up for a premium membership, that's no big deal, guys. Still get over there, sign up for a free account, get on our free email newsletter that'll get you picks straight to your inbox. And guys, it'll get you updates on our results. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any other feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. Very exciting stuff here. We've got the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the New York Yankees. The Brewers come into the season picked to be somewhere around the middle of the pack. ESPN's projecting them around 80 and 82 on the year. About a 30% chance to make the playoffs. We'll see what Jackson Chirino makes of himself this year. Obviously, very good numbers at the end of the season. Last year, they're in the second half. We'll see what happens. Christian Yelich being out a bunch last year definitely didn't help. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Freddie Peralta. The Brewers didn't exactly have a great time there with starting pitching last year. Peralta did have a pretty good season, so we'll see what he can put together in this one. But starting off the year going up against the Yankees probably doesn't feel great. Although you're taking on a Yankees team that didn't get off to the hottest start a season ago, so we'll see if that comes into play in this one. But we're expecting decent stuff from Freddie Peralta, but there's a reason that the Brewers are underdogs in this game. And the Milwaukee bullpen had its ups and downs last year. I'm expecting them to be relatively decent this season. But keep in mind, guys, this is very early. This is the first games of the MLB season. So a lot of what we're doing is guessing right now. Give me a couple weeks of data under my belt, and we can start making some really solid predictions. But nevertheless, I think there is some good value out there on opening day. The Brewers, guys, they're looking okay. They're looking okay. They're going to be hoping to have a good season out there in the NL Central. So we'll see what happens with them as they head to Yankee Stadium for this one. The Yankees come into this one. They didn't have a terrible time there in spring training necessarily. They're going to be a little bit banged up coming into the season, guys. We see Stanton among several others there on the IL, so that's obviously not what you would be hoping for. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Carlos Rodon, so we'll see what that looks like for them. I mean, I don't think Carlos Rodon is somebody I would look at as a bad starter necessarily, but he was a little bit all over the place last year. I would say that's fair. I had a great start to the season, so we're looking at the start of another season. Maybe he'll be great here again right off the bat, but we're gonna have to see. Not somebody that I'm necessarily super high on, but he is fresh off a very solid 4 2/3 scoreless innings in a grapefruit game against the Tigers there on Friday. So yeah, he looked okay. He did have 3 walks in that game, so I'm not going to freak out too much, but he did throw 77 pitches, so you can tell he's ramping things up here a little bit. So I'm expecting decent stuff from him. Obviously, the Yankees being banged up is not ideal for this game. We see them as significant favorites in this one. They are, -144. The Brewers are +130. We've got a total of 8 sitting out there. With Stanton out, that doesn't feel great to me necessarily. For the Brewers, I mean, they come into this game looking very healthy, like they're ready to go. Generally speaking, you want to be leaning towards the unders here in the early going. Usually takes the batters a little bit of time to warm up, get into the swing of things in the season. So you can talk me into under 8 in this game, even though it's a Brewers-Yankees game. But I'm not going to be taking that. I'm going to be leaning slightly towards the Yankees here at home at -144. But I don't think I like that price tag or the Yankees, to be honest, enough right now to put that in the pinned comment. Next up, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Baltimore comes into this game, guys, fresh off of, I would say, a decent spring training. Nothing too special out there. The Orioles, another team that got off to a fantastic start to the season, but faded a little bit late. They're a very young team, so we'll see what they can do here down the stretch. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Zach Eflin, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of season he can have. He was a bit all over the place last season for sure. Obviously, this is a team that needs a little bit of help there in those, in the rotation, and the hitting was amazing. The power hitting for the Orioles was off the charts last season, but is it going to be enough if you don't have any sort of, competent starting pitching staff? We're going to find out. Maybe we'll have some guys here step up for them. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath for an amazing pitching season here from Baltimore, but we'll see what they get after in this one. This is a team that's a very exciting team to watch, obviously. I mean, they're picked to be around the 6th best team in the major leagues, according to ESPN there. Around a 65% chance to make the playoffs. That will definitely work. Very exciting to see what guys like Gunnar Henderson are going to do here in the, with another season under their belts. The power numbers are going to be pretty exciting to watch, but what is the pitching staff going to look like here? It's a little bit up in the air, it feels like to me. Zach Eflin, not necessarily a starting pitcher that I am super duper high on, but we'll see what he can do here against the Blue Jays, who come into this game actually winning their last 4 spring training games for what that's worth. I wouldn't say it's worth a ton. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Jose Barrios, hoping they can get them off to a good start this season. But Toronto, it seems a little bit disingenuous to say this is a squad that I would be very excited about. I think they're going to be in the bottom third of the MLB. They'll probably finish over 500. They've got a chance to make the postseason here. I don't think it's impossible. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., poised to become a free agent. That's going to be probably the biggest story coming out of Toronto this season, I would at least be guessing. I don't know, guys. Obviously, very, very tough stuff here. This is a team that could get very caught up around the trade deadline and all that kind of stuff. We need to see. I need to see a lot here. Jose Barrios, obviously, he gave up 1 run, 4 hits, and a walk over 5 1/3 innings in Friday's Grapefruit League game there against the Phillies, and he struck out 5. So bro's looking very, very good coming into the beginning of the season, and he had some stretches last year where he was looking very, very good. I mean, this 30-year-old right-hander, he can put up some pretty decent numbers. I'll be honest, I've liked what I've seen from him this season. Now, we'll see what he can do here against the Baltimore Orioles. Obviously, a tough power hitting team, and the Blue Jays offense, I'm not exactly going to freak out about it too much. We'll see what happens. Right now, it's looking like the Orioles -115, the Blue Jays +102. We've got a total of 8.5 in this one. I think this is a pretty solid spot to take the Blue Jays. I think they're going to have by far the better starter out there. Now, Baltimore can get off to a hot start there with the bats and absolutely blow this thing out of the water. They're fully capable of that on any given night, but we haven't seen that happen yet this season. Obviously, this is the very beginning of the season, so give me the Toronto Blue Jays here at +102. I would say this is a significant lean. It's got a shot to make its way into the pinned comment. Next up, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Phillies obviously coming off of a pretty exciting season. Maybe not the way they would have wanted it to end necessarily, but they're doing some positive things. This is projected to be one of the teams that could challenge the Dodgers there atop the MLB. They're projected around 90 wins, a very good chance to make the playoffs, all that kind of good stuff. Expecting big numbers from stuff like Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Schwarber, Trey Turner. This is a squad that should be able to hit the ball, and while they are an old team in general, that doesn't always mean bad stuff over the course of a long season. Are they going to have some injuries? I'm sure they will, but I'm sure everyone else will. Will Zach Wheeler have a good season? Will he get off to a good start here? That's pretty important to us since they're the one he's handing the ball here to on opening day, and I'm expecting pretty good stuff from Zach Wheeler, honestly, over the course of the season. The dude's a veteran. He knows how to take care of his body. He knows what to do. He's coming off an excellent season a year ago, and he's going to have a very good defense behind him. Now, we'll see what they can do here going up against a team that is projected to be just a little bit worse, guys. The Washington Nationals, picked to be one of the bottom 5 or 6 teams in the majors. I don't think it's going to be above 500 team. They're a very young squad. They're trying to build something out there in Washington, and that's nice. They added in some veterans, Josh Bell, Paul DeYoung, guys like that. We'll see what, if that really pays off, but I'm not going to be holding my breath. I'm not super pumped about this team's, pitching staff and all that kind of stuff. Handing the ball in this one to, Mackenzie Gore, not a horrible option. I'm not trying to say bad stuff about Mackenzie Gore. He's a young guy. He definitely has plenty of potential. He's put up some good numbers as well. So excited to see what he'll do out there. Kind of a test to go up against the Phillies here right out of the gate. I would say that is certainly a test, and that's why the Nationals are plus 148. The Phillies are minus 170. We've got a total here of 7. I think you could maybe even talk me into just a slight lean towards the under here, but I think you want to be on the Phillies. I can't really justify taking the Nationals in this one. It just doesn't make sense to me. Mackenzie Gore, I don't think he's going to have a terrible season or anything like that, but I do not expect Zach Wheeler to be slow here coming out of the block. So go ahead and give me the Phillies in this one, even though they're big favorites. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. The Red Sox guys definitely hoping for a bounce back season. Not the year they had in mind. Things did not go the way they wanted to last year. Not at all. Things are slated to turn around for this team. We'll see if that actually happens. I don't know. I don't know how excited to get about this team. Like last year, they were supposed to be good. They did make some cool additions, like bringing in Garrett Crochet, who will be their opening day starter. We'll see how he looks. He was a bit all over the place last season at the end of the year at least, which, I mean, let's not freak out. Maybe the dude will be fine. Maybe it's no big deal. Obviously, playing for the White Sox will mess up anybody. Trying to bolster the bullpen there with, Chapman and Liam Hendricks and stuff like that could help a not great bullpen. And obviously, the idea is that Crochet is going to bolster this starting lineup a little bit, but I don't know, guys. I'm a little bit worried about the rotation. I'm a little bit worried about this team in general. I think they're being maybe a little bit overhyped coming into this one, but who knows? I could be wrong about that. It's very, very early. Obviously, we have no data to go on so far, so we'll see what they do here against the Texas Rangers. They're handing the ball in this one to Nathan Eovaldi. The Rangers, guys, not a team that is getting a ton of hype coming into this season, but last year they kind of got derailed by injuries, and we'll see how that goes now. They've got a lot of healthy guys like Jacob deGrom trying to come back and, maintain or regain his spot as one of the best pitchers out there. We'll see what happens with that one. Obviously, he's not starting here on opening day. I mean, we've got Nathan Eovaldi had a pretty good year last year. At different points, he looked pretty dominant. So we'll see what happens with that. See if this team can put together an offense that can stay healthy. See if they can put together a starting rotation that can stay healthy. All those are pretty big ifs, but we'll see, guys. I liked what they did, at the plate last year. A good amount. They were a pretty solid offensive team, and they're plus 100 in this one. The Red Sox are minus 112. We've got a total of 7.5. I don't necessarily hate under 7.5 in this game. These are two very solid pitchers, but if you're begging me for a side on this one, I definitely like the Rangers at plus 100. I think that's some pretty solid value there. I think they're a good enough team to knock off the Red Sox here, especially with Boston opening this thing up on the road. And Crochet's first game there for the Red Sox, I think we could see a little bit of nerves there. I would be a little bit more in tune with that if this game was going to be played at Fenway, but we'll see how that goes. I'm leaning towards the Rangers in this one. Now, guys, we're going to look at the San Francisco Giants going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Giants come into this season, guys, closing things out pretty well there in spring training, not having a lot of hard times there down the stretch, but not a team that's really highly touted coming into this season. They're projected to finish somewhere in the bottom third of the MLB, to be an under 500 team, probably to miss the playoffs. We'll see. This team really didn't have a great year last year. Logan Webb not having a great time necessarily. I mean, he did some good things. I'm not going to say he had a horrible entire year, but definitely not enough to carry this team out of being bad. We'll see what they can do. Bringing in, guys like Justin Verlander. I'm not going to freak out about that. This team just feels like they're trying to paste things together here. They weren't a very good offensive team last year. Not a great rotation either. Just not a team that I'm necessarily super high on coming into this season. We'll see. They could be a little bit better than I'm, guessing that they might be. That's not impossible, but yeah, I mean, when your two best starters are Logan Webb and Justin Verlander, how many starts is Justin Verlander going to make? How many quality starts are you going to get out of Justin Verlander this year? That seems like a bit of a big ask if you're asking me. So we'll see what they do here on the road against the Cincinnati Reds, a team that was very exciting at times last year, but also very bad at times too. Not a squad that we're really probably paying too much attention to at the beginning of the season, but guys like Elly De La Cruz probably turned your head a little bit, and maybe this will be the year that the Reds break through. They're an exciting young team, at least a little bit. The idea is that Elly De La Cruz will take the next step in his ascent to becoming like a superstar. We'll see if that actually happens. They've got some exciting young pitchers like Hunter Green, who's going to be taking the mound for them here on opening day. Dude is a monster. Those 100-mile-an-hour pitches look pretty nice. 6'5" dude, actually absolutely can kill it. We made money backing him last year. There's no doubt about that. We'll see what Ronald Acuna Jr. can do. Yeah, we'll see. This is a team with a lot of excitement surrounding this squad. But I'm a little bit worried. When you start looking at a little bit farther, a little bit deeper. Like Nick Lodolo is your number 2 starter. Okay, Nick Martinez, Brady Singer. We'll see. We'll see what goes on with this team. We'll see what that bullpen looks like as well. There were times when the Reds bullpen looked fantastic last year. There were also big stretches where it did not look very good. Also, this offense can be very, very bipolar. Like they're all over the place. If the top of the lineup's looking good, things can look pretty good. But they come into the beginning of the season a little bit banged up also, so that's a little bit concerning. So we'll see what we get from the Reds here. This is a coin flip game according to the odds makers. Both teams at -110. We've got a couple different total numbers still out there at 7.5 or 8. I'm gonna be leaning towards the under. I think under 8 in this one is very, very live. I don't think the Reds bats are going to start off very hot. I don't think the Giants bats are going to start off hot either or be very good over the course of the season necessarily. So I think under 8 in this one is a very good play, and I think it could go into the pinned comment. Rolling right along, we're looking at the Los Angeles Angels going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Angels obviously coming off of a season they would rather forget, but are things going to turn around for them here? Well, at least they get to come into this season healthy-ish, at least in terms of Mike Trout. We're going to see what happens with Mike Trout, whether he's going to stay in Anaheim forever. It's kind of embarrassing that he hasn't gotten more chances as one of the best baseball players in history to make a difference in some postseason games, but that's just not the way that things have worked out. This squad, they're going to need a lot of things to really go their way. A lot of things. Is that going to happen? Seems like a pretty big ask to me. They're going to be handing the ball in this one, though, to one of their potential bright spots there in Yusei Kikuchi, a guy that had a pretty good season there a year ago, pitched some big games and did well out there. Jose Soriano, Tyler Anderson, Kyle Hendricks, like most of these guys, even Jack Kohanowitz, most of these starting pitchers have had good stretches. Can they string that out, turn that into an entire good season? Seems like a bit of a big ask to me. What are we going to get out of Mike Trout for this team? That seems not questionable. I think we expect Trout to be very productive when he's out there, but the dude's getting a little bit older and he's starting to pile up a pretty significant injury history. So we'll see what happens, but I do like Kikuchi on the mound here for the Angels. He is a starting pitcher that I have a good amount of faith in. He's done some positive things, and he's coming off 5 innings against Colorado in the Cactus League, where he gave up 4 hits, 2 walks, and only a single run while striking out 5. That makes him feel pretty decent about him. How long will he stay in the game? We don't know. How good will this Angels bullpen be this year? We also don't know that. Last year, obviously not a great time for the Angels bullpen, but they should be okay in this matchup because they're taking on the Chicago White Sox, guys. The White Sox projected to have one of the worst seasons in Major League Baseball history, projected dead last in the major leagues. They're guessing they're going to lose 108 games. Pretty nuts stuff. Not a whole lot of exciting things to talk about here for the Chicago White Sox. I know you're not going to be too shocked to hear that. Handing the ball in this, their season opener to Sean Burke. We'll see how that goes. This team, a terrible rotation lined up, except for I have some faith in Jonathan Cannon. I think we could see him do some interesting things this year, but a young rotation, generally speaking, so some kind of unknowns, but do I really expect the Chicago White Sox rotation or bullpen to be significantly better than they were last year? I do not. Do I expect their hitting to be significantly better than last year? As crazy as this is going to sound because of how bad they were, I also don't expect to see that improve too much. So we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the White Sox until they give us a reason to, guys, but I am going to be more than happy to slam it here on the Angels at -150. It's not an amazing price, but I think this should be closer to -190 with Yusei Kikuchi on the mound there for the Angels. He is very, very good. I expect the Angels to get a win here. I don't know how many wins they're going to get this season overall, but I think they're going to take care of business in their season opener against Chicago White Sox. I do not care that this game is being played in the Chicago. Rolling right along, we're looking at the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. The Guardians come into this game, guys, winning 3 out of their last 4 in spring training, so that has to feel okay at least. The Guardians projected somewhere around 19th, though, in the MLB this season. A team projected to take a step back. Jose Ramirez had a great year. Is he going to get much help? We'll see if that actually happens, guys. He's going to need a little bit more help than he got a season ago. Obviously, they've got some pieces. Stephen Kwan would be hoping to play an injury-free season after having, a very, very nice start to his year derailed by injury. We'll see what other help. I mean, if we're just looking at Kwan and Jose Ramirez again without a whole lot of backup, like maybe Bo Naylor will help. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. this starting lineup doesn't look terrible. This rotation doesn't look terrible either. Hitting the ball to Tanner Bybee to get things started. Like, obviously a relatively young guy, but he's done some very good stuff, and just signing that big contract extension, you would hope that would be motivational. We'll see how that thing goes. He's been very good. One of the most reliable starters for Cleveland since coming up to the big league. So he's also looked good there in spring training. 9 shutout innings over his 2 starts. So the idea is that they'll use him to get off to a hot start here, but they're going to be going up against a pretty interesting team, guys, in the Kansas City Royals, who had a pretty good year last year. The projection is they might take a step back here. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. looked like a insane. Look, putting up crazy cartoon numbers at different points last year. So we'll see if they can back that up, see if he can, continue to just be such a dynamic hitter now that the tape is kind of out on him. This team, though, has some dangerous starting pitcher guys. Cole Rang and Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, who could be in for an even better season. Michael Lorenzen still there after they picked him up in the offseason. This team showed the ability to be a very good bullpen as well, but also the ability to kind of implode. The hitting came and went. They were a very streaky hitting team, but I mean, we love what we saw from Salvador Perez, both behind the plate and at the plate. Bobby Witt Jr., like we were talking about, having an amazing year. Hunter Renfroe being, in there. So yeah, this is an interesting team. I like a lot of what's going on for the Kansas City Royals. Will they be able to build on what they did last season? This season, we'll have to wait and see. Cole Rangan's getting the start for them. Obviously, he's fresh off of a amazing year last year. So very, very good stuff here. Kind of up and down the situation for the Royals, who are minus 130. We've got a total of 7.5 in this one. And guys, I honestly think this is a pretty good spot to take the under. I think both of these starters are going to get out of the gates quick. I think we're going to see very, very good stuff. You want to take a no-run first inning in this game? That would certainly make sense to me. If you're begging me for a side, I don't have a great lean there, guys. I would guess maybe we take the Royals here at home, but that's a tough spot. I think the under is much more in play. Next up, guys, looking at one of my favorite games on this opening day slate, we've got the Detroit Tigers going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Tigers come into this game. They unfortunately had to send Foley there to the minors to see if their closer can kind of get back on track. Last year, the Tigers, I would say, I don't even know if overachieved is the right word for what Detroit did, but coming into this season, a lot is going to fall on the shoulders of, Tariq Skubal. No major shock there. This is a team that was a bit offensively challenged last year. We'll see if Skubal can run it back and win back-to-back Cy Youngs. That would be pretty sick. This should be a very, very good rotation. They brought back Jack Flaherty. If he can continue to get better and better, apparently Jackson Jobe will probably be, coming up at some point. Reese Olson, Casey Mize, Skubal, though, he's going to be depended on in a big, big way here, and we'll see how that goes. I'm expecting big things from Skubal in terms of the hitting for this team. That is a bit up in the air. They don't come into the beginning of the season at full strength, but Perez, Verling probably going to be out here. That's obviously not ideal, but this is a team that you would hope, at least take a slight step forward at the plate. That would be a very big help for what was a very good starting rotation and a pretty solid bullpen. So we'll see what they can do here going up against the juggernaut of the MLB, those Los Angeles Dodgers, who are already 2-0 on the season. They took down the Cubs in both of those games. They're overseas, so we'll see if they can continue that role. I mean, a 6-3 win and a 4-1 win over the Cubs in a very weird, honestly, games that feel more like exhibition games. But we'll see. The Dodgers obviously breaking the bank all offseason long, trying to buy their way to a championship. We'll see if they can do it. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Blake Snell, a very, very interesting guy to be handing the ball to at this point in his career. Last season, looked like the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball, or maybe he was literally the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball, but then turned things around, kind of got back on track, and now, taking his first start here in a Dodgers jersey. So we'll see how that goes. The left-hander went with a 3.12 ERA and 145 strikeouts over 104 innings and 20 starts with the Giants in 2024. He's going to be looking to, continue that trend here with the Dodgers. Now, Bro was terrible at different points last season, especially at the beginning of the year, and Blake Snell is notorious for getting off to slow starts to his season. So, looking at the numbers here, I'm a little bit surprised to see what they look like. Detroit is plus 155 with Skubal on the mound. The Dodgers minus 175. We've got a total of 6.5, so a very low total. And to me, that means a close game at minimum. And to me, that screams take the underdog here, guys. We're putting a sizable, I'm not going to say a massive, but a sizable underdog in there on opening day. Give me the Detroit Tigers plus 155. How many times this year can you see plus 155 on Skubal? Also, I'm more than happy to fade Blake Snell here in the early part of the season. Bro is usually terrible right out of the gate. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Cubs, part of that Japan situation. They lose both games there to the Dodgers. I mean, I guess kind of competitive, but weird stuff having to go over there and play. And yeah, things not working out for the Cubs, who are now in a 2-game hole. So that probably doesn't feel very good. The Cubs are going to be handing the ball to Justin Steele, hoping he can bounce back from not the best outing there against the Dodgers in that Tokyo series. We'll see what he can do here. He had some decent starts last year, but the dude's hitting 30 years old. Like, I don't know. I'm not as high as Justin Steele as some people are. The Cubs bullpen was pretty middle of the road last season. Have they done a ton to improve that? I'm not necessarily seeing it in terms of just their overall offensive production that I think we should expect from this team. I'm just not really sold on the Chicago Cubs. I know they're being looked at as a team, that could end up being the best team out there in the, NL Central, but I'm not holding my breath, guys. I'm a little bit worried here about the Cubs. I don't think they're going to have the best time, and they're going on the road to take on the Diamondbacks, a team that had a wild season a year ago. This was one of the craziest offensive teams in recent memory. They were putting up runs. They were also giving up plenty of runs. Now, they're going to be hoping that Zach Gallen can hold the fort here for this one. He gave up 1 run on 5 hits and 2 walks while striking out 2 over 4 1/3 innings there against the Athletics on a Thursday start. Yeah, they're in spring training. So we'll see. That wasn't necessarily super encouraging, but the dude's been good. He's 29 years old, kind of time to put up or shut up at this point. So we'll see what he can get done out there against Justin Steele and the Cubs. The Diamondbacks are minus 130 in this game. We've got a total of 8.5. You could definitely talk me into over 8.5 in this game if it wasn't early in the season. So probably not going to be playing any overs here for a minute, guys, until we see, the way things are going. Keep in mind, these are the earliest of early picks here in the major leagues. Like, we do not have a ton of info to go on about how teams are going to be playing, how pitchers are going to be throwing the ball here in the early goings of this season. But I do think there's reason to take the Diamondbacks here. I don't love what I'm seeing from Justin Steele here in the early goings. The Diamondbacks are an elite offensive team. I don't think we're going to see that change. So give me the Diamondbacks at minus 130. I think Zach Gallen can have a decent start. And minus 130, not a bad price for an offense like this. In our last game of this MLB slate, guys, we're going to be looking at the homeless not Oakland Athletics anymore, just the Athletics. They're going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. The Athletics going to be handing the ball in this one to Luis Severino, newly acquired. We'll see what he can do there in an Athletics jersey. He had a good season, generally speaking, for the Mets last year, so we'll see what he can do. It'll be very exciting. I would love to see the A's just have a great season here, but it just feels pretty unlikely. Not the best starting rotation in terms of their offense. Like, they've got some guys out there, but I mean, I'm very excited to see what Brent Rooker can do this season, for example, but I'm not super high on the Oakland Athletics, on the Athletics here. So we'll see what they do this season. They're taking on the most offensively challenged team, or at least it felt like the most offensively challenged team in the MLB last season, taking on the Seattle Mariners, a team that leaned on their young rotation, who was very, very good, especially in the early and mid-season. They faded a little bit late in the year. They're going to be giving the ball to young Logan Gilbert, a monster, an all-star game participant. So we'll see if he can get off to a good start to his year, which I would pretty much expect him to do. I don't think that's too shocking. The real question here for the Mariners is, can they improve that offense? And we'll see. We'll see. Randy Arozarena out there should help, but didn't really help that much when they acquired him last year. Kyle Raleigh, they're signing a big extension, so they're hoping he'll live up to that. J.P. Crawford there at shortstop. We'll see what this team can do, but I'm going to need to see it before I really believe it here for these, Seattle Mariners. They're massive favorites in this game at minus 170. We've got a total of 7 out there. In a matchup between Severino and Logan Gilbert, I kind of think offense is going to be at a premium. Neither one of these teams amazing at the plate necessarily, although maybe the A's are a little bit better. So I guess you could talk me into the Athletics at plus 145 if you want a side super bad, but I would just go ahead and play the under, and let's see what happens out there in this one. Now, guys, let's hop over and look at these 4 NCAA tournament basketball games we've got for Thursday night. And first up, we're looking at number 6 BYU taking on number 2 Alabama. The Cougars, they've taken down VCU and Wisconsin. That crazy 2-point win there against Wisconsin to advance to take on Alabama here. We've liked what we've seen from BYU this season in general, an elite offensive team against Wisconsin. Obviously, a pretty good game to put up 91 points, but BYU, no strangers to scoring in that realm. They shot 46.2% from 3, 50% from the field. They did a great job on the boards. Honestly, the fact they out-rebounded Wisconsin 41-32 might be the bigger factor in why they won this game. Now, they had no answers out there for John Tonji, who did make 14 out of his 37 points there from the free throw line. So take that with a grain of salt. But the Badgers had no bench. It's not like BYU got insane production from the bench, but they had several guys there chipping in, and that at least helped. So we'll see what the Cougars can do here against Alabama, a team that is elite offensively as well. The Crimson Tide just overwhelmed St. Mary's, winning that game 80-66, and they did have a little bit of a scare there in the opening round against Robert Morris, but they're in good shape now. They've got to be feeling pretty good, feeling like they're back on track. This is one of the top 3 teams out in the SEC. This is an offense only first and all the time. Mark Sears, very likely to be the best player on the floor every time he takes the court. This is the top scoring team in the NCAA, the second highest rebounding. Not a great defensive team, which is a concern in this game, no doubt about that. So we'll see what they can do here taking on BYU. Obviously, this game right off the bat figures to be one of the most exciting games of the night. We've got Alabama 5.5-point favorites. We're looking at a total here of 175.5. I'm going to be leaning a bit towards BYU getting 5.5 points. It feels a little bit crazy to me. Alabama's an excellent team though, and I just think this is going to be a close game. Both teams are going to score a ton of points. I'm not going to take over 175.5. That feels absolutely bonkers, but I do think there's reason to be on BYU getting the points in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at number 4 Maryland taking on number 1 Florida. Maryland comes into this game fresh off of that crazy 1-point win there against Colorado State. Bonker stuff. Crazy to see that Colorado State run come to an end. Crazy to see Maryland. That buzzer beater. A lot of controversy over whether that's a travel or not. I would, as someone who plays a good amount of pickup basketball, I would really never expect that to get called a travel. But you never know. This is a game where the refs tend to not swallow the whistle. So I was a little bit surprised to see that not called a travel, but you don't want the refs deciding the game at the end. The Terps shot the ball really, really well from 3 in that game. Did not as good of a job on the boards. They got out rebounded by 10, so they really had to make all their shots, and they did. So that's how you get a win, guys. Even if you don't crash the boards well, you make all your shots, you're going to win a lot of games. Obviously, Derek Queen with that game winner, a monster, and just been a monster for them all season long. A very good offensive team, a great defensive team. The rebounding, a little bit suspect here, and that could come back to bite them against the Florida Gators, who are fresh off what ended up being a 2-point win there over UConn. Florida did not play well early in that game necessarily. They did go into halftime tied up, but they were down and eventually managed to come back and get the win there. Obviously, love what you see from Walter Clayton Jr. putting up 23 points, only 6 of 14 from the field, but 5 of 8 from 3. He can score on all levels. The Gators shot 47.5% from 3. They did a great job getting to the free throw line, and they did a good job there on the board. So Florida, obviously a juggernaut. They've been a juggernaut all season long. They are very likely to have the best player on the floor there in Walter Clayton Jr., and they're a top 5 offensive team and a top 5 rebounding team, and that rebounding could be a problem there for Maryland. The numbers for this game, guys, Florida, they are 6.5-point favorites. Maryland, obviously 6.5-point underdog. We got a total of 157 out there. Guys, in this one, it's a little bit tough to go against Florida. It took everything Maryland could do to knock off Colorado State. A decent team, albeit, but nothing like what we expect to see here from the Florida Gators. Go ahead and give me Florida to get the win and cover in this one. Does it feel great after they burned us there, barely beating UConn? No, but I think this is a good spot to be on Florida. Next on the docket, we're looking at number 4 Arizona taking on number 1 Duke. A big showdown here. Teams who have actually already played each other, and we saw Duke get the win in the early season non-conference schedule, winning that game 69-55. Pretty convincing stuff. Cooper Flagg had a monster game in that one, and yeah, they were able to really hold down that Arizona offense in general. So we'll see if Duke can repeat that. Arizona made it to this point in the tournament by taking down Akron in a blowout and then just barely getting by Oregon there, just barely covering those 3.5 points for us late. It was wild. That game looked like it should have been a comfortable win there for Arizona, but some costly mistakes late in that game made it very close, which makes me a little bit worried here about these Arizona Wildcats. I mean, obviously Caleb Love is a monster. He's going to be tough to guard, but the dude isn't huge out there, and that's something that Duke kind of has in spades. The Blue Devils have some size. Apparently Brown, even despite that shoulder injury, could end up playing in this game. The Blue Devils are cruising so far in this tournament, guys. Blowing out Mount St. Mary's and then blowing out Baylor, winning that game by, was it 23 or something like that? Oof. Bro, it is, this team looks good. Cooper Flagg looking pretty good. Apparently that ankle going to be all right. He's coming off, we saw Tyrese Proctor put up 25. Cooper Flagg only scored 18, but played really well. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, a block. Like, bro is hooping out there. Duke shot the lights out from 3 in that game. They get to the free throw line. They crash the boards. Like, not a lot of weaknesses here for this Duke Blue Devils team. And looking at the numbers for this one, we see Duke 9.5-point favorites. That is a lot of points, guys. That is an awful lot of points. Feels like almost too many points, to be honest. Is it enough that we want to take Arizona, a team that generally comes up short? It comes up small in these big spots. Like, Arizona looked a bit, what's the right word? Disorganized there late against Oregon. I don't know if they're going to get a chance to get disorganized or organized against Duke. I think the Blue Devils are the far better team. Is it enough for them to win this game by double digits? That seems like a bit of a big ask with how good Duke's been this season so far, this season overall, and in the tournament so far. I am honestly leaning a little bit towards the Blue Devils in this game. I think it's too big of a number. I don't know that can go in the pinned comment. I'm also not interested in the total of 153.5. I guess you could take the over if you think this is going to be a competitive game, but this is a tough one, guys. I'm leaning towards Duke, and I guess towards the over, but very unlikely any of that's going in the pinned comment. Last but not least, we're looking at the number 10 Arkansas Razorbacks taking on number 3 Texas Tech. The Razorbacks, a couple of very interesting wins, very solid performances, taking down Kansas, which a game that I would kind of expect them to have a very good chance in. Kansas has been having a pretty down year, but then taking down St. John's, a number 2 seed, very impressive stuff. They'll definitely take it, a 75-66 win. It was a little bit close. I don't know. They did get up to a very good start. They were by 3 there at halftime. That was nice. They had a few big leads, and St. John's made something of a comeback, but Arkansas managed to win this game by 9 points despite shooting 2 of 19 from 3-point range, guys. They did a decent job on the boards, keeping things about even, but they didn't let St. John's make any threes either. They did a good job getting to the line, but both teams did in kind of a messy game. So Arkansas, they come out on top for sure. Their season-long numbers don't really look like a team you would be expecting to be playing here in the Sweet 16 with a chance to go to the Elite 8. So we'll see what they do over the course of the year. They've struggled a little bit, but tournament time is here, and they are playing well. But are they playing well enough to take down the Texas Tech Red Raiders, a team that, I'm not going to lie, has had a pretty easy path here? I mean, taking down UNCW by 10 points, that's not a blowout. That's not that impressive a win. Then they took down number 11 Drake, a team that scored an upset in the opening round, but you beat a 14 seed and an 11 seed. Like, now you play another double-digit seed, so we'll see what the Red Raiders do here. I mean, against Drake, obviously a team that wants to muck it up and slow the game down. Texas Tech, I'm not going to say they completely let them do that, but I will say the Red Raiders managed to win despite shooting 2 of 14 from 3. They did a great job on the boards. They got what they wanted out of this game, which is a win and to kind of inflict their style on Drake at least a little bit. The Red Raiders, obviously having JT Toppin, pretty helpful. I mean, Elijah Hawkins also helpful. A double-digit scorer that also puts up nearly 7 assists per game. This is an elite offensive team, an elite defensive team as well. Now they get to take on Arkansas. I'm a little bit scared for Arkansas in this game, to be honest. There is certainly a reason in this one that we see Arkansas getting points here, but they're only getting 5.5. The odds makers give me a lot of respect there to the Razorbacks and what they've been doing lately. But guys, I'm not falling for it. Give me Texas Tech here, minus 5.5. This is the main college basketball play here that has a chance to go into the pinned comment. I'm not interested in the total in this game. I mean, we got a total of 148.5. Maybe you go over, but I think we see Texas Tech really take care of business in this one and show that they're a good team, despite the fact they're getting to play, against some much weaker seeds than themselves. I think that we see the Red Raiders win this game by double digits. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.